Okie dokie, Kit Club. So, we don't have a lot of techniques for the February 2026 Kit Club. We only have to color the little hot dog packet. And then we are going to be doing, covering one of those craft stars, chipboard stars, and the tag. We're going to color a tag, some of the tags that are in there, and we're also going to, there we go, you can choose any of the tags in your pack. And then I also did cover another little tag with washi tape. Okay, so that is extremely simple. And easy. I'm going to show you how I did that, and then we are going to move on to the messy part. Although it's just a little packet, a little hot dog packet, a glycine packet, I'm going to show you how to do the glycine packet as well as the coloring of the craft tag with a variety of products. And I will explain why as soon as I can find my craft packet, because I just had it in my hand and I put it down to find an ink. I'll be back just now. Okie dokie, I found the packet, and I also got my little travel Tim Holtz glass media mat out. Okay, so first a caveat, I have been using this thing and I have the bigger one too, all the time. Sometimes I forget to clean it when I make a video, but I have to be honest, you guys, I don't use a craft sheet at all anymore. I've been using this for the last year, and having said that, I might use a clean block. You can just buy a glass cutting board at any place like Mr. Price or whatever, or you can use a huge piece of Perspex. I do personally find, after years and years and years, look, I still have all my craft sheets. This comes with a white one. Sometimes it stains. I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like. You do get replacements. I mean, it is a wonderful, the little craft mat that comes with it is very nice. That's the big one. I do have a little replacement somewhere in case I need a replacement. I have no idea where I put that. So it's a different kind of sheet. It actually sticks to your work surface. Here it is. So I have a replacement for my big mat, because for my big glass mat, because I use them up and I'm a little rough with them, especially when I wash them. So of course you can use a craft sheet. This one has like a sticky back, so it will cling to the glass media mat. And I actually think, it'll also cling to your work surface. So I see they're advertising it as they're calling it something else. You can just buy a big one loose, but when you buy a glass mat, this one comes with a baby one. I have no idea what I did with that one. Is it here? No, it's another big one. I think, here it is. So I keep that on where I cut my papers, in the little container. So if I'm busy with lots of different things, I can keep this one side. You can even cut this up. Anyway, that's a lot of yapping about nothing really. Cleans easily. You can cut on it. It's just a wonderful tool. Okay, after having sold you one now, I do recommend that if you can, that you invest in one. Maybe I'll do a special offer with the next Kit Club. If anybody is interested, please let me know. So from this pack, you will see, in this pack, you will see there are loads of things, which is why I said we will be using this throughout the year. I just want to point out that because it's laser cut, your hands will get some black marks on, so just be careful of that. You don't want to work with this and then directly go to clean paper. Now obviously I don't want to waste my tags, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink something that I want to use. That one, I actually did use one that looks like that. Maybe I'll use one of those. I can even do a little one for a journal page. Maybe that one to ink. And yeah, so let's see. I also did a star, but I will show you exactly how I did that. I am going to try this year. Oh, good intentions. I'm going to try this year to keep my KitClub things really together and not have them all over the show. It's very difficult for me because I am a little bit all over the show, as you can hear and see. I am like this though because I've just received my PC back, and for me to do something, I need to start something and finish something, otherwise it never gets finished. So in my process, my way of processing things, if I did this and I didn't have my PC, I would lose the SD card, or I would film over it because I wouldn't be able to know what on which card I have filmed. So thank you for being so gracious and kind and bearing with me. Okay, so let's first quickly just cover one of these tag things with washi tape. It is so easy, you guys. I literally just took washi tape, and you would kind of want it straight, okay, and you don't even have to cut it because we are going to obviously glue it at the back. You have to glue it. If you don't glue it, it's just washi tape, okay, and it will become loose again. There we go. And obviously you can start wherever you want to start. So I'm thinking I should have started a little bit more to the bottom. But that's okay. I am just going to add another purple one there. And then let's go in with a purple one here. Cannot believe how I am struggling to see. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm really at that stage now where, oopsie, that wasn't supposed to happen. Anyway, it did. Let me just not waste that. But I am honestly at the point where I struggle to see. But like I said, I've just gotten new glasses and I don't know, I'm still blind as a bat, or I think I will definitely need, I think I've got multifocals now, or something like that, but they're just not working for me. Okay, you guys, so now you've got this. Now, the adhesive on a washi tape is not really strong, and because this is a very porous craft piece of paper, you do want to just fling it to the back and then adhere it. Otherwise, you do run the risk that it will come loose. Obviously, if you're going to glue it onto your layout immediately, you won't have that problem because you will have the adhesive. But please just adhere it. Otherwise, it doesn't look neat and nice. And you want to have a nice, you know, like a really neat tag. It wants to look as if you bought it like that. That is the idea. Okay, so there we go. Very easy to do that. You are, of course, not going to have those gaps. And if you do have those gaps, let me just quickly show you. You can, of course, just layer over it, because it's just washi tape. And I did ink my edges. I did ink my edges. You can even, I'm going to show you a few tricks now, because that is on a curve. There we go. Okay, so let's say your curve is not as smooth as you would like it. How can you fix that? There are a number of ways you can do that. one of my favorite ways to do that is to use a sanding block. To just smooth out those edges. And if you don't have a sanding block, you can even use an emery board. I'm going to show you something I still have from 2007. A basic grey sanding file. I have saved this tool for almost 20 years. It came in a set. I don't know if anybody can remember that. It had fantastic files. And there was no better sanding tool than, I don't know, the grit paper that, or the, what do you call it, the sanding paper that they had glued onto this is just phenomenal. Okay, so here at the bottom, I am not going to glue it because that little piece is too small. So I'm just going to trim that. By the way, for those of you who have EK Success scissors, whose scissors look like mine, finally, EK Success has released another set like this. So I have ordered it from the States. I do hope it's the same. It looked the same when I ordered it. And as soon as it arrives, we will be advertising it. Because really, the Cutter Bees were absolutely some of the most fantastic scissors I ever owned. Okay, so there's that. You can then, of course, ink the edges. And you would want to use either something like StazOn or an archival ink, because it is washi tape, and although it is a matte piece of paper tape, some of the other inks, oxide's fine, but a dye ink will just kind of disappear. So you want to ink it with a pigment or something that will show up. Okay, there we go. And then of course you can make a little hole into the tag, put a thread through it, or you can just adhere it as is. What I did do, I actually just added a little word. You can see on this layout I don't have any pink, or like the bright pink I didn't use. I just used the two colors. And then that stripe is, I think you also have that stripe in your pack. So I don't know where my stripe is, but you can just use your stripe as well. Okay, so that's covering something with washi tape. Next up, we are going to be blending. Now this is where it gets interesting. We're first going to blend, and then we are going to ink the packet. I have a lot of inks here. So first of all, I would recommend that you, if you don't own anything else, you all have these inks. If you belong to the Kit Club for the last 2 or 3 years, you must have these colors. Even if you only have 2 of them, but these 3 are the perfect combination to get the perfect color. Yeah, so we've got Bahama Blue, we've got Aspen Mist, and we have got Ocean Depth. And I just want to show you, when you blend blue onto something like the craft that is like a yellowy color, when it dries, it's like a really gorgeous tealy, greeny color. I don't know what to call it. It really is beautiful, because I think yellow and blue make green, doesn't it? Okay, so you are just going to blend your piece of craft. If you want to add some more turquoise or teal, you can, and you can blend it as dark as you want. Of course, you can just paint that as well. You can definitely paint it. So that's what mine looks like when I inked it, and then the color kind of just intensified. Okay, so although that looks a bit bluer, I don't know why, but mine just ended up to be that darkish teal color. Okay, you can see how it's changing, literally in front of your eyes. Now you can also use these 3 colors to color the glycine pack. You guys all know how to do that. I mean, you can choose any colors you want to. You are going to smush them onto your quote-unquote craft sheet or the cutting mat, the glass mat. You are going to wet it with water, not too much, and you are going to simply place the little packet into the ink mixture. And I would recommend that you leave it to dry naturally. There we go. Okay, if you want to have some more movement, you can mist it a little bit. You can let it run. It will, of course, just dry beautifully. Any way you want to. Okay, it's just an element. If it's too light, you can go back and you can do a second layer. Let me quickly dry this for you. And you can get the idea. I think I used the wrong side. Should have used the other side. This has the seam, but it's not the end of the world. Of course, if you want a little bit more definition, you can go back in with a darker color. What am I doing? Drying that. I dried those things out. Anyway, really, you guys. Okay, that's nice. So, there you have it. That's how easy that is. Oopsie, there's a little tabby. Put that one to one side. I'm going to, because I want to show you some other ways of inking your craft. Okay, so there we go, and just so that you can see what it looks like, we're going to be doing the stenciling now. I mean, that is as close gets. Okay, of course, I'm going to let that dry there. You can use a myriad of products to blend your craft. You can use anything that is water soluble or mixable or reactive, whatever term you are comfortable with, to get that technique, that effect. That ink is not water soluble, and archival inks are also not water soluble. So here I am busy with experiments again with archival re-inkers, and so those would be archival inks, and they are not water soluble. So I am going to prove that to you. I do have some of my other ink in here, but it is not water soluble. It becomes yucky when you want to mix it with water. So you cannot do that technique with these inks, or with this ink, or with a clear ink. Look what happens. The ink separates. Okay, so it's going to just be ugly if you use it on for that technique. Look at that. It is not what, unless you want that, but that is not what you want. So you cannot use a pigment ink. It is not water soluble. I know there are some, but most of the ones that we have are not. Neither is a solvent ink. So this is also not going to blend or react with water. Okay. However, you can just normally blend with a pigment ink. Let me just get a clean blending tool here. I cleaned out my drawers and I found these old ones. I think they were like makeup brushes 10 years ago. Look at that. Fantastic. I know that these two colors work. They are not as blendable, okay, as the as the water-soluble inks, but they actually have a little bit more of an open time, as you can see there. So you can definitely use an archival ink to blend. I know that's green, but okay, can you see that? So that is definitely fine. I only opened this ink pad like today. I've had it for so long. So as you can see, there we are coloring the craft cardstock. But you can also use a lot of other products. You can use that oxides for this technique if you only have oxides. Let me just show you. I'm going to use broken china. Of course, the oxide will have a milky look and it will not react as much with the craft because of the way that the pigment is absorbed by the craft porous paper. The oxide sits almost on top of the paper, if that makes any sense. Okay, but of course you can, let's use a different color here. Of course you can mix this with water because it is water reactive. So that's the look you would get with an oxide. Okay, hope that makes sense. So oxides are wonderfully water reactive, very intense pigments. You know, I only bought myself some oxides end of last year. I've just never been an oxide. I had no desire to work with oxides because I was so busy with my Tucaniko inks. But I decided that I am going to give oxides a chance. So that is for the KitClub, just the basic techniques. However, I thought that I would give you guys just a little bit of a bonus tutorial in how to use a variety of products to achieve the same effect. So I've got some white cardstock here, and I'm going to, from our craft bag, I will sacrifice something. Let me see, something I'm not going to use a lot. I really don't like the tag. Okay, so it's not that I don't like the tag, the shape doesn't do it for me. So I've got a variety of products here. I have a brush pen from Ecoline. It says here that it's a brilliant color. I think it's just a water-soluble pen. I have never used it before. Very intense color. Okay, obviously blends with water. Very nice. Okay, that is very nice. I would guess that this is probably just a watercolor in a pen. We'll see if it's permanent. And I thought it would be a good idea to see what it actually would do if we colored our tag directly with it. So I tried to pick the same colors. Okay, so this tag is craft cardstock, is very absorbent, but you can see if you had a whole one, you could color the whole tag with that. Very nice. I do think that it gives a very nice effect. Okay, let's say you didn't have anything else, but you had a Zig art and graphic marker. You can scribble. It's definitely water soluble. Very nice. Okay, and you can, but I think I would dry out this marker in a flash. It's way too absorbent. Okay, the craft cardstock. So I wouldn't use this to color the craft cardstock. But as far as doing that, and I'm sure for adult coloring, that, you know, just that pen would be fine. Next up we have the Faber-Castell Gold Faber Aqua Dual Marker. This is called Light Cobalt Green, which is like a blue-green. Very nice. Let's mix it with water. Just a little bit. Okay, I should have mixed it a little bit more. I don't have the cardstock I'm using is not Technique cardstock, so it's just a normal board. Yeah. Okay, very interesting how the other inks responded differently. So I'm not too impressed with what this is doing on this cardstock. However, I will not judge it too much because it's just normal card. As you can see, same effect as the twin and graphic. You are going to use up your whole pen if you had to color that. Okay, let's move on to a gelato. So this gelato, I think my sheet is wet, is very old. I've had gelatos for many years and I hardly use them. So the other day I decided, oh, I must use my gelatos. Okay, so I've realized that you need to mix the pigment, and this is on a glass mat. So you want to give the pigment an opportunity to activate with water. It's going to be different if I do this. There we go. And if I, then this is also a metallic, which also means it reacts differently. But look, okay, so there I'm getting good coverage. So application, oh, that is very nice. Look, it has something like a, what is this called? It's an iridescent and it's called nebula. My goodness. Okay, so I didn't look at the color, I just looked at the stick. Okay, but that is very nice. So obviously it has that purple tone in it, and depending on how you turn it, that is very nice. Okay, but obviously not the color that we really wanted. You can see that I did not plan this. That's very nice, however. Also very interesting that you get less of the purple effect when you apply the product like this. But can you see the difference between this product and the Faber-Castell, the Aqua? Just the way that it reacts with the paper. I definitely should not have used this piece of paper. I'm still way impressed with those two, but maybe it's just too wet at this stage. But once again, you can see that you can definitely use it to, it's definitely water soluble. Okie dokie, next up, let's see what we have here. We've got the Dina Wakley Media Scribble Sticks. I've also just purchased these recently, and I used it once and I was like, no, I don't know if I want to use this again. But then I watched a few videos on it, and I thought maybe I must just give it another try. So not very intense. I can go over it with like that, but not very intense. Let's see what happens if I apply it directly to my tag, and I now get some water. So that is a much better way to apply the scribble stick. Much better. So if you have a scribble stick, I wouldn't go for that route. I would definitely just apply it directly to the medium, and then see what happens if it's water soluble. I really need to get my, ooh, you know what I have? I have a Fabriano 1264 300 gram watercolor pad here. And then what I also have, I know now I have it, is a Fabriano mixed media pad. I forgot. So let's quickly take one of these sheets, and instead of using shame, putting a square into a round hole, let's rather use something that is meant for this. Okay, so I'm scribbling and I'm wetting, and I'm using my brush to move the pigment. That seems to be a little bit better. Okay, so that is definitely a better option than the paper. I'm also going to give this product another chance, And I think what I need to do is just wet my paper a little bit. Okay, so that is better. So this is just a mixed media paper, but look how much better this pigment from this pen reacts onto the proper paper. Okay, so there is something to be said for the right medium. It is extremely important. Watercolor paper, for instance, the type of paper you use is way more important than the paint. Of course, the paint that you use is important. I'm not saying that it's not important, but the paper, your substrate, is way more important. Okay, but anyway, so we see we can use a scribble stick. Next up, another product that I am definitely going to be getting into, and I want to learn more about, are the Distress watercolor pencils. What color is that? Prize ribbon. Okay, so let's go for a prize ribbon, although I do know that that is too blue. I have not had any success with these. I don't like them at all, because it feels to me as if they've got no pigment. But then I realize maybe it's just me. Maybe I am the problem, because maybe I just don't know how to use them. And here's a little secret. Everybody in the Kit Club is getting a set this year. So I better learn how to use this product. Okay, maybe that's how we use the product. Let's see. Oh, that's very nice. See, we are doing this together. Oh, that is very nice. You see, I'm expecting the product to do something that it's not going to do, because it's not built like that. This one still has very little pigment. There, something's coming through. Okay, so obviously I am expecting this pencil to, which is a square, you can see it's a square, right, to fit into a round hole. Okay, my bad. But as you can see, you can definitely use it in some form. I would then say maybe if you wanted to paint your, if you only had these colors, for instance, right? Oh, and what I did see someone do, I saw them shave this, like use their craft knife and then actually do shavings. So you could probably do that. I still want to make sure, I'm sure I should be able to apply this. Anyway, it's not going to do it for me, what I wanted to do, but I can see that if I practiced a little bit, it is just a watercolor, so it's not going to be opaque. Doesn't matter what I tell it to do, it is made to be a watercolor. Okay, but I can see as the pigment is being activated that there is definitely an improvement. So it's a user error here, it's not the product. I'm trying to use it for something it's not intended for. Okay, there we go. I'm going to just put these, they are wet, so I'm just going to put them to one side. I don't want them to contaminate all the other colors. Okay, I then decided this year that I am going to buy myself a Karanda Ash set, and I am going to explore this. So I see everybody's using these pencils. They are very expensive. Ah, but look at that. So they are, I don't know, water-soluble wax pastels. They are not watercolor pencils. They are water-soluble wax pencils. That feels just like a crayon, you know, like a normal wax crayon. boo, but that is very nice. Okay, so obviously this product is very expensive. But it's very nice. Okay, so I know I'm making a big mess here, but I will show you what I'm going to do with this at the end. Okay, so this is a very nice product. I can kind of see that if we made some lines, and remember I'm doing it very hard now, you actually don't want to do it so hard, but you can also go in with shading. That's when it's wet. And then I don't even have water here. Let me just get a bigger brush. Okay, that's too wet. That is really pigmented. That is very nice. Okay, it's really, I can feel the pigments move, and it's highly pigmented. So I think if I had the right surface for this, it would be wonderful to work with. But I am going to do a little video on all of these products. I'm not just going to say that the one is good and the one is not good. Okay, so that's Caran d'Ache. Then I kept my Lira set for last. I actually gave my set to the shop that I've had for many, many years. And I decided to get the set with 36 colors just because. So I'm going to use a similar color in this set, and I want to see what the difference is between this and the Caran d'Ache. So this is Lira. Now I've been a Lira fan for many, many years. I am still a Lira fan. I did take a bit more care, obviously, because I was very rough with the. I will actually. I think these two are comparable. I do think the Lira is a better, is a softer wax. It's just an aquarelle stick. It's not a wax, but I think that I still would prefer this one. But I haven't done all the tests with it. So there we go. What else do I have that I can apply color with? I have my Derwent Intenses that I have had since I started scrapbooking. It was like the first thing I ever imported for myself, and when I had the shop. So Inktense is Inktense. It's an ink that is very intense. And once you've activated it with the water, it becomes permanent. But look at that. I mean, it really is an intensely vibrant ink. So I've got to give it some good movement because I will not be able to move it again when it is dry. So I just want to kill those edges. Okay. While we're at it, let's add some splats. Move that out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so Inktense you can use, which is like a pencil. But can you see with the wax, the Caran d'Ache? Yeah, the Liras I can still move. That is stuck there. It's not going to move again for me. So we need to keep that in mind. Then I've got a Derwent normal watercolor. I'll squish that in there. You can see where it's touching the water. paper is now getting a little, oh no, that's very dry, that's why it's doing that. I love doing experiments like this. I need to go refill my water. Okay. Also, user error. And then I heard a rumor that my pastels, oh no, that's definitely not the right color. Neither is that. My pastels, I've only got a small set. Okay, but let's now go for some green there. Are also water soluble. I never knew that about pastels, pastel pencils. So look at that. Naturally, they are water soluble. I never knew that. Look at that, you guys. Did you know that? I did not know that. Okay. So, I did not know that. But now I do know that. Do I have anything else here that is water soluble? I have my Faber-Castell set. You must think that I'm crazy having all these sets of coloring things that I never use, but it is my little bit of an obsession. I do love, I've always, since I was a kid, I loved coloring things. Okay, so I wouldn't put this straight on, but what I am going to do, what I saw someone do, is once again pick up the color. Oh, Les, look at that. Directly from the pencil. Oh, that is spectacular. Can you believe that comes from... That is very nice. Look at that. Okay, I do like that. That is very nice. I think I'm going to have... Oh, this is very nice. You guys, for splatters, buy yourself a set of, okay, but this is the Albert Dürer from Albrecht Dürer from Faber-Castell. It was on sale at our supplier. I think I bought a few sets for the shop. We do have some left. Look at that. Okay, that is very nice. I don't know what this is, but it's just becoming a something. Okay, we are getting a little off course. I understand it's still KitClub, so I am going to get back to KitClub things now. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that lots of things that you have in your stash you could use to add color to your projects. All-purpose inks. I've got my all-purpose inks here. So let's dab an all-purpose. I mean, look at that. You can, of course, I know I'm going off technique completely now. We actually just want to paint a piece of craft cardstock. I'm quite excited now. Okay, we just want to paint craft cardstock. So I don't know what pigment that is that I have there. But you can definitely do that using your all-purpose inks. So all-purpose inks, of course, are all-purpose inks. They are absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be lifting some of this color. And I just want to show you, oh, you know, running out of space here. If I had my all-purpose inks, just the way all-purpose inks react with water is spectacular. Maybe we must do an all-purpose ink KitClub. Okay, so let me get another one of these little glycine packs. I have a tutorial on the YouTube channel actually where I did an art journal page using a glycine pack, stamped on it, heat embossed it, and then colored it with the all-purpose inks, which was lovely. You guys, this has been like 45 minutes of just going through products. We haven't even touched paints yet. Oh, you know. Okay, so if you have watercolor paints, I mean, of course you can use those. I mean, this is not a set. These are just some random watercolor paints that I have. I know that that is going to be the right color, just because I know. Look at that. So of course you can use your watercolor paint to do your techniques. Even on your craft, you can do this. And then we're going to move over to acrylic now. While I'm here, I might just as well finish the video. And for those of you who have lost interest long time ago and you're just like, no man, I'm just going to use an ink, you're wasting my time, I apologize, but you have to admit, oopsie, playing with our stuff is fun. So this year I just broke the lid. I've had this for many moons. It's an impasto from Finn. So of course you can just use an acrylic paint. There's a thick impasto and I'm just diluting it a little bit with water. You can use it straight like that. And please remember to use your paints if you have lots of paints. I have to make a plan with that one. I think this one is rock hard. Yeah, this was a shop soiled when we got the stock. Unfortunately, this paint was dry. I thought I would be able to reactivate it, but to date, well, there might be a little bit of color, but not really. Anyway, if you do have one of these and it is still working, then you can definitely use it. But this one is just rubber. I'm going to, for the last time, be adding something there. Not even going to put the seal back. Have it in a couple of months and it just never, that is just left over impasto. Here's a lacquer paint. This one is a shimmer. It's Dilutions, what's it called? Blue Lagoon. So it's a shimmer paint. You can just, oh, that's very nice. I haven't used this for a while. I think I used it in an art journal class the other day. You can just use acrylic paint. Can you dilute acrylic paint with water? Yes, you can. So if you want to use that for the glycine technique, you absolutely can. There we go. Can even turn it down. Acrylic, although is just permanent when it's dry, but it is definitely water. You can definitely activate it with water, and it's a wonderful product. Here's another paint. This is a teal golden open. Can't remember what we're busy with. We're busy with that. That's just acrylic. So you can definitely paint your craft cardstock tags with normal acrylic paint as well. Okay, so now I've made a lovely mess. This is exactly what I love doing. Don't know what I'm going to do with all these samples. I hope that you will use yours. No, this is just, I'm actually going to throw this away. When it gets to that point, I think that there's no salvaging it. I'm sure I missed a lot of products. I'm sure you can use re-inkers, although I would first cover this with gesso then maybe. Remember, we started off saying we want the colors to react with one another, so you get that greenish look. We have now completely altered everything here, so there is no way that this is even what I was intending it to be. And of course, you can also do the trusted let's dip it in water technique. This is a very porous craft that I don't know what the brand is that I bought these from. It's one of the wholesalers, but it's very porous, so you could even perhaps maybe cover this with a layer of gesso if you don't like it to be so porous, and then you'll get a pure color of whatever you're coating it with. Okay, now that I've messed up my whole craft space, I'm going to clean it, and I hope you guys enjoy inking. Those are the techniques. I don't think I missed it. Oh, the stenciling. Okay, the stenciling. I must do the stenciling. Sorry guys, we're going to quickly do the stenciling. But that is just the same of what we've been doing now. So I think this one is pretty much dry. Not completely, but there we go. So I'm so sorry. See, I get so excited I forgot about the stenciling. On this packet, you can see very faintly is the stenciling. I literally just chose one stencil for the KitClub. The stars that I used for the journal page is the stars that you got in December. And I'm sure everybody has more than one stencil, so you have like a different pattern. That's just the idea, as I explained in the journal video. So you are just going to use whatever stencil you want to, and you are just going to place it over your glycine pack. You can of course mix all the colors again, or you can just use maybe your darkest color and just stencil a little bit. It is not to cover the whole thing. It is literally just to add a bit of an effect. If you feel that you want to add more, you can add more, or you can add even a darker shade of the color that you're busy with, but I just like the tone on tone, something like that. It's just to add a little bit of interest. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, maybe I'll just leave this mess till tomorrow. Bye. Okay guys, so unfortunately I don't have any more of those pink napkins that we gave you guys. I wanted to do the technique video now on how to get that napkin onto your white sheet of cardstock, but I have this one from the art journaling left, and it is the same technique as what we used in the art journal. Basically, you are going to take some gel medium, and you are going to take your cardstock that you have in your kit. You've got a sheet, a 12 by 12 sheet, which interestingly enough is the same size as the napkin when you open it up. And remember, you're going to remove that backing of the napkin. So that napkin has quite some texture, and I thought it was very lovely when I bought it. I actually bought that pack at Dis-Chem, so if you live where there's a Dis-Chem, please go get yourself a pack. So the way that I like to do it is to put down enough gel medium. Now the whole thing is that you need to cover this well, because obviously the gel medium will dry if you use a very small brush. So it's best to use a large brush. And then with that other sheet, I just adhered the whole sheet. With this one, obviously my piece of paper is too small, and then you can take something like this spatula or a bone folder or an old credit card just to flatten it out nicely, and then I like coating it again just to make sure that it does glue down properly. So the gel medium I'm using is Somandala's cheap gel medium, and it dries with a matte finish. Now let's say, for instance, this is just a bonus little tip, let's say that I wanted to alter this napkin after I adhere it down. I would have to dry it first, and then I think I want to go in with my coloring pencil. So that this is just a bonus tip for you. I'll probably repeat this in one of the journal classes. Okay, but gel medium is it coats. So it is like acrylic paint. It is the basis basically of acrylic paint. So it will be coat something, it will seal it, but it also might prevent you from applying another medium. So it will be like a resist. So if I wanted to color this with pencils, for instance, I want to darken some of it, I'm not going to be able to do that because the gel medium will be like a sealant. So what I want to do to make this, to prepare this surface, who can tell me what product do we use to prepare a surface for the application of an ink or a paint or a medium? That is of course gesso, just normal gesso. But now if I used white gesso on this, it's going to obscure my beautiful images. I might still see some of it if I put a really thin wash over it, but that is what we have clear gesso for. Please don't use your heat tool on your cutting mat. You will warp it, and I'm sure that there are techniques and ways that people say you can unwarp it. I've never found one that works for me, so please don't do that. Okay, so now that I've got my napkin all adhered, I need to, on this very messy desk, find my craft knife, and I know I used it in the previous video, but now since this is a new video, only the table knows where it's hiding at. So I'm just going to trim the edges just to make it a little bit easier to work. Not going to be perfect. It's something that the fan is on. Couldn't figure out what is making that flapping sound, and this little booklet that's blowing up. Okay, so of course I can just take my clear gesso, which I am hiding from myself, don't know where. I wasn't planning on doing this. Oh, where's my clear gesso? Here's clear gesso in front of me. So I'm going to take my clear gesso, rinse my brush, take off the excess. Have to do something. There goes the alarm clock. I'm quickly going to do this, so bear with me. Schedule's on for the next thing. You can see it's when I talk way too much that my phone starts reminding me time to move on. My challenge is to finish things before, and I do give myself about half an hour between each task. Okay, so I'll be back and I'll let that dry. Okay, sorry, that took, you don't know that, but it took quite a while. Here we go. So that is, I think, nice and dry now. So this would have prepared this surface, the clear gesso, for the application of medium. So let's see. I think I want to go for pencils. What is this color? Is called crimson. That might be a bit too dark. This is called terracotta. It's a Derwent watercolor. So of course you know that you can use watercolor pencils just like normal color pencils. So I don't have to activate this. I can just use it as a normal color pencil. So I'm just filling in there where there's already natural shadows. What is this? Cherry. It's change this color of this flower a little bit. Use my Derwent there, that's an intense pencil. So for now, I'm just coloring. I am not worried about activating this with water. I'm just adding some color. Okay, so you can, of course, just leave it there like that. As you can see, it really assists with the application of color. So now I've got a coat of gel medium on this, plus I have the clear gesso, so I can really do some interesting things to this little napkin. Look at that, how it spreads. And this is the Faber-Castell marker that we struggled with a little bit, or not you, but me. I struggled a little bit with this, remember, when I was using it on that other sheet of paper. But look at that. It really gives you the opportunity to enhance the color. And I want to test something here where I've gone over the edges. So it's, oh, that's actually shadow, that's not me. Okay, so now if I want to go in with a really dark blue, what is this? This is called Passion Plum. It's a pastel. I really want to get into pastels. I mean, I never knew that pastels were water soluble. Okay, so I would not be able to do this if I only had the gel medium on here. Definitely not. I actually want to spread this a little bit. I've already made a big mess there. So I can just as well do a bit of a background color and let that bleed over or into that area. Okay, I hope that that makes sense. If you, let's quickly activate the watercolor pencil here. Look at that gorgeous color. Does that make sense? Why we use the gesso? I hope so. Once you've adhered it with the gel medium. Only if you want to alter it a little bit later. Okay, I mean, if you don't want to do anything to this, you obviously don't have to do anything. You can just adhere it with the gel medium and then leave it as is. I'm having too much fun once again. I should stop now. Okay, I want to stop. There we go. You can clearly see how easy that is, and that is all that I did with that little napkin for the KitClub, and then when it was dry I fussy cut it. Hope that makes sense. And then of course the stencil work on that layout was simply, as I explained in the notes, you're just going to take your stencil with the inks and you're going to blend it through. Okay guys, I hope I didn't miss anything. Have a wonderful February.